Hey YouTube fans, this is LTK, Love Them Knives, with another knife review. You may have seen this Enlan EL01 model, and you can see on the blade it says EL01 Enlan. G10 handle on a previous video. This I just got in. It's a wooden handled EL01 as well. Same blade stock, same jimping, same design, same flipper tab, same hardware, pretty much. Open standoffs, jimping everywhere. Jimping doesn't come through the scales though. See this? Jimping's along here, along here. It's here on your liner lock. Okay? There's your lockup. And you may have noticed, hey, what happened here, dude? It's like, well, I was grabbing it really hard and that whole part of the scale flaked off. And then I glued it back together, but I forgot to put a clamp on it. So the glue expanded and made a little place. So it's a mess. I shouldn't even glued it back on. I didn't want to send it back because it's a $15 knife. There's no point. GearBest gave me a $5 credit back in my GearBest wallet for future purchases. So whatever. I don't really care. I was just curious about what this knife would be like in the wooden version. And my suspicions were confirmed, which is wooden handled knives are not as durable as G10 scales by any means. They may be a little bit more showy, but I don't know what we're trying to do when we have a $10, $15, $20 knife. Okay, and I get that a lot of the Ganzo knives have wooden handles, and so be it. Okay, but you drop this, and you're gonna put dings and dents all through this wood. It's not real hardwood, not real tough, hard, dense wood is what I'm trying to say. Okay, you've got a lanyard hole right here. See right through there, and it's not tubed, so you can see right through there. The hardware on this knife, and it really flipped horribly out of the box. It was just like, you know, like this. Okay, get further away from the camera, kind of give you the whole like that. I mean, and I was flipping hard on it. Bought this. Came in this box, GearBest. Pivot tool. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Now you can lock in and you can move the pivot. It's so nice to be able to do that. But they had it, I mean, when it came out of this box, not only are all these 4 screws on both sides, you got 8 screws, not only are they like Loctited to death, maybe they welded them to the scales. I don't know, but they are on there. I got 2 of the screws on one side out, and then I boogered up 2 of them, and I go, okay, I'm done. And I'm just wasting too much time on a $15 knife. It's just not worth it. But it came so tight, it was like this. Okay, this was my flipping experience out of the box. I should have just left it in the box and done this video raw, but okay, so that's what it was like. So I go, this is absolutely horrible. Of course, in the same bag was this tool that I had ordered. So thank God they both came in at the same time. So time to loosen the pivot, right? And of course, it wasn't that easy because they got that baby locked down hard too. See, I sat on this tool and turned it, and there's a lot of weight when I sit. In any case, and I lubed it. Actually, I couldn't take the knife apart, so I took the pivot completely out because I could loosen that at least, push this back through because this kind of is a tube, and this screws into it on that side. Hell with it. In any case, I'll show you. Okay. There it is. There's the inside, and see this? This is just a screw. Can you see the remnants of the Loctite on there? Yeah. Right on these lower threads? Oh, hell yeah. Oh my God. I mean, they just Loctite everything down. I understand that, but please, God, don't do this. Don't do me any favors by doing this. You know what you need to do is send it disassembled. I swear to God. I really like the design of this knife, but wow, the way they send it to you assembled, and I'm trying to figure out where I need to be to get any action out of this blade. It's a little tough still. But, at least, well, just a hair of blade play, but not much. So that's good. That's about as good as it's going to get. But it's okay. It flips. It flips. Okay, jimping. Jimping doesn't go through the scales. Now let's take a look at this one too. And I've seen these guys on YouTube that have these knives, and a lot of times they flip horribly as well, and they don't have the pivot tool, so they can't really adjust that. I took the pivot out on this one. I jerked it, and there's a nylon pivot in here. Okay, if you look up close, see the white nylon washer. Okay, look at below. It's not a nylon washer, is it? You see that little washer there? It's a bronze washer. It's just amazing. It's a bronze on one side. You can kind of see down in here. It's a bronze on one side, smaller in diameter. And this is a nylon, much larger in diameter. I've noticed that they're doing that on the Ganzo knives too. I don't know why. Wish I did. Wish I did. They're reasonably sharp out of the box. They flip. They're flippers. They don't do much to the flipper tab. The flipper tab's very plain, very squared off. It looks like the mill just passed over it and milled it right out, right? Not a whole lot of rounding, or maybe a light deburring to keep it from being absolutely wicked edgy sharp, but it's still pretty damn sharp. I mean, when I worked in a tool and die shop and did some deburring, I did more than that. So I don't know that anything touched that. But there's no jimping or anything there too. It's kind of like the flipper tab's the whole point when you make a flipper. Just saying. Just saying. Stainless steel liners. Lots of jimping back here, jimping back here. And as they do on these knives, they're not going through the G10. Some, knives will actually extend the jimping through the G10, so you get a total experience here, because if your thumb just slides along here, it's going to slide on top on the G10 and kind of almost not touch the jimping underneath. So yeah, bringing it through might have been not a bad idea, although I don't know how much jimping you need. Good Lord. That's a bunch. So, and you got the open standoffs, stainless steel. They skeletonize these liners, which is great. You can see the little holes back in there that are milled out on both sides, top and bottom, right? So at least they're doing something to try and save a little bit of weight on these. And, we've got blades that are 3 3/4 inches long and overall length of 8 1/4. And they're both the same size, but if you can see, that's 3 3/4 and 8 1/4, just a little over 8 1/4 overall length. And the width, wow, the width is, on the wooden handled one, is over 1/2 inch. It's 0.638. Touch it for millimeters. 16.23 millimeters, right? Oh, sorry. Going back to inches here. Okay, the G10 one is interesting because it's not as fat. There you go, 5.48 or 13.9 millimeters. So big difference, right? Which means, of course, that this one must be a lot lighter. Or not. So let's see, what does it weigh? Okay, let's find out. And the G10 one comes in at 5.6 ounces. And what is that in grams? It's 159 grams. 5.6 ounces. That's the G10 one. How about our lovely wooden handled one? 5.2. 5.2. 146 grams. So a lighter knife. Amazing, huh? The wooden knife, the G10 knife, both open standoffs, both a low carry pocket clip, both have the lanyard holes in them, both have the incredibly crazy proprietary pivot that they don't send you a tool, and they might as well. I mean, the tool costs like $4 or $5 from Gear Best, right? Why don't you just throw one in? You know, charge $3 extra and make it mandatory. Something, because that pivot is what drives everybody crazy. Just look at the other videos on YouTube. You know, everybody's sitting there going, wow. I mean, because when it comes out of the box, they're like this. And they go, well, it'll get better as it breaks in. It's like, I saw one video where the guy said, oh, it's the best flipping knife I've ever had, the best flipper. It's like, dude, you need to get you one of these. That's a good flipper. Oh, dude, you need to get you one of these. That's a good flipper. Okay, just saying, if you want a good flipping knife for a reasonable price, $58, $80, wow, incredible. Incredible. But these are on bearings, which always makes sense somehow. Oh, well, get it out. So these are on washers, but even a lot of the Kaisers are on washers, and they flip better than this. And they don't need as much adjusting, and they're not cranked down to where you can't undo the screws. And the screw heads will round out because they're so janked in there with Loctite. And so my T6 wrench just about twisted itself to death, except it rounded the insides of this out. Of course, I ripped that part of the scale off, glued it back together without a clamp, and so now it's sitting up and looking like an ugly wart. But this will just be a kick-around knife, because it's the unwanted sister now. I mean, I couldn't believe that just flipped off in my hand. Just that part of the wooden scale just came right off. So I don't know if it's some kind of wafered together wood or something. I don't know. But it wavered itself right off of there. You got like three, I was going to say, not quite a 4. Let me zero this out. Okay. Thickness, 3.5 millimeters. Okay. So what does that mean in inches? Well, I'll tell you. As soon as I zero this out, come on, really, quit being that way. And there is not inches. That's inches, 0.1354, something like that. So they'd be the same thickness. HCR 13 MOV, good user steel. I mean, for a budget knife, and sharpens fairly easily. So, you know, hey, you're going to be using it a lot. You're going to dull it down. Can you sharpen it? Yeah, it's a lot easier to sharpen than a lot of the harder steels that are more expensive as well, by the way. So this clip becomes a wrench, a pivot wrench. You know that, right? If you've seen some of the stuff on there, you can unscrew these 3 screws, right? If you can. And I did on this one, so I knew they would come out. And you take the clip off, and you got the 3 screws there, but you turn the screws around and face them the other way, okay? So the bottoms of the screws are where the heads are now. You flip this thing over and push where the bottoms of the screws are on here, because you got a triangle here and you got a triangle here. So this actually becomes a wrench in an emergency, or if you have nothing else to move that pivot with. So you can flip the screws around, you push it down, okay? And if you get how when you are going to push the bottoms of the screws come out there, they'll fit in that. And then you can turn it with the clip being kind of a handle of a wrench. You know what I mean? But you got to put your fingers, your thumb down on that when you got it on that pivot to make contact so it doesn't slip, because there's not much meat there. See what that is? I mean, that thing, it bevels right down to flat with the pivot. Now, why they didn't just put a little Torx in there, I don't know. Because, I mean, check it out. That's what they did here. Stylized pivot. You can still put a little Torx in there. You can make it real easy. No, hell no. Don't do that. Might make life easier for us. Hell, we might even be able to take this pivot out and fix it to make it a better flipper, which I did. I opened it up. This one too. Take the pivot out. Even if you can't take these 4 screws on each side, so you got 8 screws, even if you can't take them off, you can pull this, you can undo this, and you can push it through, and you can pull the blade out with its washers and clean things out, and then you can put the washers on each side and push them through here. You might want to take a little screwdriver, kind of wedge that open as you push it back through, and then you take, you know, any kind of little like ice pick or awl, or maybe the end of your small Torx driver, whatever, and you can catch those washers and center them in that hole. You know, center them in the hole as you push this back through, and it'll push back through, and then this screws into the inside of this tube. So, and you can reassemble it. So it works, and these flip now. I think it's the end of my experimentation with the Enlan EL01. Yeah, I mean, they're a good budget knife, good carry. I like the design of this. I've looked at a lot of the other Enlan models, and maybe only 1 or 2 bring any fascination for me, and the rest, no. So, you know, I just buy what I like, and if I don't like the design that much, there's no point for me. So, in any case, yeah, these work. I think that really it would have been nice if they'd have milled out an area to put bearings in. And it's not like these bearings are so expensive. You can buy a set of bearings on, you know, for like $3 or $4. And if they just raise the price $3 and put bearings in these things, and then don't Loctite this stuff down with the real high grade Loctite. I mean, you know, just a real light type Loctite. I mean, these probably ain't going to come loose anyhow, even if you don't put Loctite, and just make it so where people can pop them apart. Open standoff, you can wash it through. I get that, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice. Bearings, you have to machine, though, an area to put the bearings in, you know. Where these washers, they're just there, you know. They're taking up space. But you can't quite do that with the bearings. They're not going to fit. I tried. I've got some bearings in an envelope. I've got some extra knife parts and stuff, and I tried to put bearings in here, but they're just too deep. They're too wide, so they wouldn't fit in here. There's really no place for the race of the bearing, the capture part, to sit. So, in any case, it's not machined for them. It would be nice. That would really make this a cool knife. It really would. A better knife than it is now. And they're okay. Actually, this G10 one behaves better than the wooden handled one. And maybe that's just the odd, you know, draw I got, you know, luck of the draw that I got. Although this is newer out of the box, so maybe it'll loosen up. I lubed both of them. You know, I pulled the pivots, I cleaned them up, I put them back, I, you know, adjusted. But I tried to actually take the scale, take this whole knife apart, and I boogered out these these two. And then I know that if I can't turn these, because the Torx just spins around in them, and, you know, barring getting crazy on this thing, I just said, nah, I'm done. It's okay. It's okay the way it is. So no point in trying to make more of it than it is. It's just too much time and effort. I'm not willing to invest that kind of effort. Any case, 2 budget knives, the Enlan EL01. Really like the design. If you want to see this knife in a really quality flipper, and you're willing to pay some money, and you really like this design that much, well, look at my video that I did on the Maker 1. It's a complete titanium frame lock flipper that has now gone to somebody in France. But in any case, a frame lock flipper, and it's got bearings, and it works like a charm. And it's the exact same look and design. Amazing. But you can look at my video on that. And so that's kind of interesting. I think you can still buy the titanium maker one. So there you go. I think that's Ben's Knife Shop on AliExpress or Decoria Knife Shop on DHgate. It's Ben either way. These different shops for different places, but in any case, same guy. All right, EL01. Flipper. Very difficult pivot. Very cranked down. Very difficult to work with. But once you get it adjusted, when you can, then, they got a lanyard hole. They're not deep carry, but they're not adjustable from that. I mean, they're a tip-up right hand. But, the fit and finish is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And they've skeletonized the liners. It's a pretty good little knife, really. And I understand the following. All right, guys, I got more videos coming up in the future of other things other than the Enlan. Jesus, Mary. Enlan and San Renmu. Done for a while. Not so much done with the Ganzos. There's some interesting new models coming out with Ganzo, and they really look cool to me, so I've got some on order. Other than that, we're going to get maybe back into some more clones and back into some more Chinese original designs that are a little higher end, frame lock, flipper, titanium, that kind of thing. All right, done for now. Take care. Have fun with those knives. Let me know what you think about this setup, and see you down the road.